back to another episode of The Penalty Box. I'm Avery Becker.
And I'm Dominic Rossi.
And today we're doing a little bit of a special episode for you guys. We're doing a college hockey episode, and we're going to preview the upcoming Hockey East Men's Championship. Let's get into it. So the two games that are happening on Friday at TD Garden are Massachusetts versus Boston College, and that will have a puck drop for 4 p.m. And then University of Maine versus Boston University, which has a puck drop of 7:30 p.m. And the winners of those two games will move on to the championship on Saturday, which is a puck drop for 7:30 p.m. as well. Dom, what are your predictions for these games?
So in the first game, I think BC will beat UMass. They're the number one team in the country for a good reason, and that's because they win a lot of games and they win big. You know, all the scores are sometimes multiple goal games. And usually they're able to outshoot you by a lot because not only do they have a lot of talent at forward, but their defensive play is also really good. Prevents you from getting too many goals. And I know in the UConn game they almost blew it, but you know, they managed to pull it out in the end, and I think they'll learn from their mistake and they'll just start dominating from here on out.
They have an incredibly star-studded roster with first-round draft picks like Gabe Perreault, Will Smith, and Ryan Leonard. And Ryan Leonard is especially a very physical player, but he pays his dues on the offensive side of things. And we can't forget Jacob Fowler, their goaltender. He's a cat in the net. And even though, you bring to the UConn game, I feel like they wouldn't have won it if it weren't for Jacob Fowler and his obstruction of the pucks in the crease. He's an incredible goaltender. And even though UConn did have more shots on goal than Boston College did, I feel like anytime that Boston College's players go anywhere near the net and make a shot, it's always right on the money. They're just such an elite program and such an elite team, and it's going to be really awesome to see how far they make it into the NCAA tournament, and I also agree, I think they are winning the game over UMass. But we can't also deny UMass's players. We can go into junior defenseman Scott Morrow and freshman forward Jack Musa, who have been gathering quite a lot of offense for the Minutemen. If they are determined to shut down the players like Leonard, Smith, and Fowler, it's very possible that they could win the game, but I feel like it's a game that could go one of two ways, very high scoring or very low scoring, highlighting these players that we've mentioned. But I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's just going to be a really fun game to watch, and mark it on your calendars, guys. Now moving to the matchup where University of Maine is facing off against Boston University. Dom, what are your predictions for this game?
I think this one will be tougher to decide. They're both pretty high towards the top in terms of their rankings. But I think BU is just a more aggressive team, which in these big stakes games really helps you win. And the other deciding factor that has me taking them is they have the number one projected pick in this year's NHL draft, Macklin Celebrini. And when you just have such a skilled player on your roster, you just have a much better chance of winning with a guy like that.
Macklin Celebrini, you could honestly compare him to a Connor McDavid and a Jack Hughes just for how fast of a skater he is. He skates through those defensemen, and he's such an elite player at only 17 years old. I don't know if this is true, but he might be the youngest player in the NCAA right now, and he's certainly proving himself to be one of the stars. And also, you can't go wrong with the Black Bears. I feel like between them and the University of Massachusetts Minutemen, I feel like the Black Bears have more of an easier chance to make it to the championship than the Minutemen do, because I feel like Boston University is a little bit of an easier matchup. But like I said, the Boston University is they're an extremely physical team, and it's going to be an interesting test for the Black Bears to see how they deal with that. Now moving on to the championship game. Dom, who do you think is going to take it home?
So far in 2024, there have been 3 Big East or Hockey East tournaments. Number 1 UConn won in both men and women's basketball, and number 1 UConn won in women's hockey. So I think that trend is going to continue with number 1 ranked BC winning men's Hockey East.
That's an interesting take. I'm the complete opposite. I think The Terriers are going to take it in overtime. I'm predicting a 3-1 score. I feel like you are comparing with the Boston College Eagles' offense and how elite they are. I feel like that the Terriers are going to be able to shut them down a little bit in terms of, like I said, they're very petty and very physical, and I think it's going to be another incredible matchup, and to have these two Boston teams face off, it's going to be an electric night in TD Garden. But let us know in the comments what you guys think the outcome will be. That's all we have for you guys today. I'm Avery Becker.
I'm Dominic Rossi.
And this is the Penalty Box.